Castillon Confidencial by Albert Castillon.
Bienvenidos. Welcome, insiders. Thank you for being there. Strength, honor, and let's move forward with confidential information. Thank you for staying united in this fight. For the sake of truth, you know that we don't accept public money here, and that makes us free.
Look, there's a saying that goes, the enemy of your enemy is your friend, right?
That's what's happening with a group of Algerian hackers
who attack the most important Moroccan organizations. They break into encrypted government systems.
Recently, they published the names and details of everyone who works for King Mohammed VI in the palace. They carry out actions like this. They're called Jabarot. They're very active on social media. Their accounts get shut down and they open new ones. They just published images of what are supposedly Moroccan spies in Spain. Some of the images were published by El Confidencial, and you can see some photos there. The CNI will take good note of all this. But the most important thing is that they have published the names of the masterminds behind the invasion of Ceuta. We know that the invasion of Ceuta, the one on July 30th, was carried out with the permission and approval of the government of Morocco, of Mohammed VI, the coronation of Israel. We told you about it here.
And also with the knowledge of Pedro Sanchez, which is especially regrettable.
But what you're going to see now is the names of the people who coordinated, prepared, chose the day, the time, and set the operation in motion. An operation that began days earlier on social media through bots, fake messages, but which exploded on a specific day.
Why did they spread the message that Spain had opened its borders? That is the message, the call that caused 100,000 people to rush into Ceuta and also led to the deaths of 150 men, women, and children.
That evil, viral, disastrous, and also provocative message was not accidental. It was a message prepared and organized by the masterminds behind the operation. According to these Algerian hackers, the main mastermind behind everything, the one who advised Mohammed VI to carry out the operation that day, according to them,
it's this man you're going to see, Fawad Ali El-Hima.
Close friend of Mohammed VI. They studied together at the Royal Moroccan Political College. He founded the party 20 years ago. Currently, he is one of the closest advisors to the King of Morocco. He was the one who forced Spain to change its mind about the Sahara.
After Brahim Ghali was treated in a Spanish hospital, he was the one who incited all of that.
Also, supposedly, he was the one who advised attacking the phones of some high-ranking Spanish officials with Pegasus, including the Prime Minister himself. There are intelligence reports that identify this man as the mastermind behind the invasion. The objective obtained the video that you are about to see. We have dubbed it for you. In the year 2009, this man, Fawad Ali El-Hima, said at a party meeting that Spain needed to abandon the mentality of the 1950s. And he directly threatened Spain. He talked about 17 years ago. He said they would have problems. We would have problems. Listen and watch.
I would also like to say a few words addressed to Spain. The first thing is that the future of Spain is tied to the prosperity of this region. This region must not continue living. This is thanks to Melilla or the smuggling in Ceuta. This region has the necessary resources to pursue a project and achieve economic results.
It has all the potential.
And for this area to be able to stand on its own in order to put an end to the dependence on Melilla, and for this area to become a place with economic prospects, at the level of today's Morocco. This is one of the messages that Spain must understand and take into account. I would also like to refer to the religious issue. When in prayers the Prince of the Believers was invoked, Spain had no problems. When Spain prevented his name from being invoked and tried to eliminate Moroccan religious symbols, that's when the problem Spain is suffering today began, and it will suffer even more in the future. We had already warned you, and we are warning you again. The Moroccan religious tradition and the religious legitimacy of Morocco are the guarantee of the stability and unity of this community.
Notice the detail. He made that threat 17 years ago. That blackmail. Saying that if we wanted to avoid problems, for them, problems mean sending us immigrants.
Sending us jihadists they release from prisons, or invading Ceuta and Melilla. It's the usual bargaining chip.
And he talks about two issues, two conditions. The first one, Spain must contribute to the economic development of the Melilla area, that is, the Rif. And the second one, to accept the religious influence of Mohammed VI. 17 years have passed. And with Sanchez, we have the 2 billion invested in Morocco.
And of course, Mohammed VI is respected. In fact, he's feared. We're like vassals because of this king's Pegasus. This man they call the Viceroy of Morocco. That would be according to information from the Algerian hackers.
The main mastermind behind the invasion of Ceuta, but not the only one. He would have participated and advised His Majesty Mohammed VI, a second figure. Very well known in Spain, Andrea Zulay.
You are seeing him, Moroccan politician, Jewish, of Sephardic origin. He has a French passport. And get this, his daughter, do you know who she is?
The Director General of UNESCO. Just imagine
the contacts this man has, both inside and outside Morocco. His connections are so good that even Juanma Moreno Bonilla, 6 years ago,
as president of the Andalusian government, he gave him the Medal of Andalusia. You're seeing the image of the two of them. As I said, he has a lot of power. And according to our information, he allegedly works for the Mossad.
These two men were the advisors, the masterminds behind the operation, an operation that for Morocco was an absolute success.
Whoever wanted to enter, entered. For as long as they wanted, those who felt like it went back to Morocco. And they were even accompanied. The only thing missing was putting them in a taxi, and they stayed.
Those who couldn't go back, those 15,000 with criminal records, some disguised soldiers from the Moroccan army. Among them, members of Moroccan intelligence, have no doubt. Those stayed and didn't return.
The plan is underway. The second phase is underway. We told you about it yesterday in a special video. I recommend you watch it.
But all of this still needs to be done. These are geopolitical moves
organized by a government with the coordination of Israel and the permission of the United States, who supports Spain for defense. Who? Brussels? Ursula von der Leyen? Who? Who? China? Palestine? Hamas? Who are the allies of Spain to defend Europe's border?
Europe only cares that they don't leave Ceuta and don't cross the strait. Nothing else. There's much more. And get ready, because today we'll talk a lot about history. It's important to remember it so we don't repeat it.
Welcome. We investigate.
When you're riding an electric scooter, the last thing you want is to be carrying papers. Your insurance, always at hand, digital, organized and ready when you need it.
The Mi Seguros app has sponsored the editorial of Castilla Castellón Confidencial. Download Mi Seguros, the easiest and fastest way to manage all your insurance in one place.
Friends, many of you mention in your messages what happened in 1975. The famous Green March.
It was something similar to what is happening in Ceuta, a civilian invasion of Spanish territory. That time, it was the Sahara,
which was as Spanish as any other province of Spain.
Just like in Ceuta, the Spanish troops didn't show up, they withdrew.
And Morocco kept the Sahara. That was an agreement, a pact.
Like with Ceuta, which we believe is also the case.
There was someone who years later was at the academy. He was a lieutenant colonel in the army, a member of Spanish intelligence, and he was also stationed for years in that area we're talking about. He is our dear contributor, Lieutenant Colonel Francisco Vendala. How are you?
Well, I'm not doing well because of what's happening. Personally, yes. And again, thank you very much for having me on your show and with you, Albert.
We missed you. We couldn't go more than 15 days without you. You see, Don Francisco, please explain to me. November 6, 1975,
350,000 civilians organized by the King of Morocco, the father of the current king. Back then, Hassan II forced Spain to abandon the Sahara.
Was it agreed upon?
It was agreed upon, and very much so. But it was agreed not only with the government at that time, but above all, and this is what's important, with Juan Carlos I, who made a lightning trip to the Sahara, to Layun, on November 2, 1975. Careful, already acting as head of state, because Franco's agony had already led to the transfer of powers. So he goes there, and it's very important, acting as head of state.
And why does the king go there?
Why? Well, it's very simple, because the Spanish troops, legion, regulars, nomad troops, and others who were deployed there were ready to defend the Sahara.
They had the will to win in the Sahara.
And what was coming at them, besides that green march of civilians, was perfectly directed from within by Moroccan military officers. Let's not forget that march we saw was perfectly shepherded, let's say, by Moroccan military officers who were obviously embedded within it to lead the people to a specific objective.
What is the problem that Juan Carlos I and the United States are facing?
That the Spanish troops do what they have to do, defend the Spanish province, the 53rd, which is the Sahara. To prevent that, that's why Juan Carlos I takes that whirlwind trip with the influence he naturally has at that moment, since he is also Franco's heir. In other words, his authority and his credibility come from Franco's that he still had over the Spanish people at that time had left it to him. He shows up in Layun, and here two very important events take place. He brings orders, and I mean orders from the United States, that this has already been agreed upon, that it cannot end in a military confrontation. And he goes there and does two things. One is a ceremony for show, there are the photographs, and then they meet in the officers' club with the military commanders. Everyone, generally speaking, even captains. And there he gives a very brief, very quick speech in which there's a phrase that hasn't been given much importance, and it's that it's not worth it. I don't know the exact phrase, something like putting no human life in danger, etc., etc. It's a very short phrase.
then he already hints that he's not willing to defend that part of Spain militarily.
But then there's a meeting with the top military commanders, generals and colonels, the ones who really command the legion, nomads and irregulars. And there he tells them, because the mood among the young officers, the non-commissioned officers, and the troops was to defend that place to the last, he tells them to restrain the troops, that the troops should remain restrained, that they should obey, and that in that case, they would advance in their careers. We're talking about generals, but especially about colonels. Well, that's how it happened. After a few days, he returns to Spain immediately. And after a few days, the handover of the Sahara is made public.
And the withdrawal of all Spanish forces, which is about to begin and will take some time.
From that famous Operation Swallow, whose objective was the defense of the Sahara, but suddenly it turns 180 degrees, and it's no longer about defending the Sahara, but about abandoning the Sahara.
The Sahara is handed over due to a clear betrayal by Juan Carlos, who was already acting as head of state of Spain, because he handed over a territory that was clearly Spanish, just like Ceuta and Melilla are today, without any reason, only because of his fear and his desire to consolidate his power, only because the United States, in whose hands he had placed himself, told him that it had to be handed over and that it had to be negotiated, that it was a gift they had to give to their great ally, Morocco.
Besides that, taking away the resources of the Sahara and so on.
That's how it is. That's perfectly clear, just like the conversations Juan Carlos Lag had with the U.S. ambassador in Madrid, in which he informed him about the atmosphere within the government. Those who might oppose that?
Of course, he informs him about the desire of the officers and non-commissioned officers to defend the Sahara. All of that is cut short by that trip. It's cut short by that issue of career advancement, and from that moment on, discipline is enforced, and the officers simply obey. That was the handover of the Sahara in 1975.
It's very curious. 51 years have passed. The United States is once again in the background. Hassan II's son is back in the picture. Is it possible that the United States is telling King Felipe VI not to take action?
I totally believe that. Besides, he has no desire to take action, of course, because as you've been reporting exclusively, there's a pact. There was a pact, the famous Madrid Accords from November 75, that later became known.
Never passed by the Cortes, never approved by Parliament, never published in an official journal, but they were carried out and the Sahara was handed over. We're in the same situation, Albert.
We've had a green march, let's say. When the bugle sounded, 80,000 came in. When the bugle sounded, 70,000 left. And they left you with 10,000
to mess up all of Ceuta so that the Spaniards in Ceuta get fed up, lose heart, and become disappointed.
And faced with a lack of support, they end up leaving, selling whatever they can and leaving. Just like what happened to the Tienwa in Algeria with De Gaulle, and when Algeria was abandoned.
They left there however they could, because there came a point when the situation was truly impossible for them. Of course, the United States is interested in that. Why? Because Ceuta, let's not forget, is the key to the Strait of Gibraltar. They have the key to the Strait of Gibraltar. They have the key with Gibraltar, with the military base that is Gibraltar, an English military base, their close cousin. You need exactly what's across from it. Ceuta, then Melilla will come later, but first Ceuta, and besides, it does a favor for their great ally in a situation where Mohammed VI, who is naturally in physical decline and has been gradually giving way, as he has been doing for the past 3 or 4 years, to his son Muley Hassan III. This is very important. We're in the same situation, and here we are with the same weakness, the same disunity, the same tension, the same confrontations. All of these kingdoms, Queen Vitalejas, who then, with Franco's agony, when everyone found themselves without a leader and didn't really know which way to go. And everyone went their own way, trying to fend for themselves, which obviously suited Albert exactly.
That analogy between Franco's agony, the Green March happened just 20 days before he died, with the agony of the current government and the blackmail of Sanchez, are very similar. You said that during the Green March,
there were a lot of Moroccan soldiers infiltrated. Have there been any in the invasion of Ceuta?
Come on, there's no doubt about it. Not only here, there have been soldiers who took off their uniforms and slipped in there. We can see their age, their training, how some of them look, even their attitude. You have to be a soldier to see and appreciate that, or from the intelligence services. These people have been guided just like those famous ones from the Green March in 1975.
Here, at the level that corresponds to Ceuta, at a higher level because the Sahara was obviously much bigger and so on.
We must not forget, in addition, a very important phrase from Hassan II to Juan Carlos IV.
The issue of Ceuta and Melilla has to be resolved by the next generation. That is, I haven't resolved it. I resolved the Sahara issue, which I took from you. In the next generation, Moroccans are patient.
Ceuta and Melilla have to be resolved. That is Mohammed VI.
And then Mohammed VI will abdicate and step into the background so his son can do it. Or Mohammed VI himself does it in his final moments. But that has to be resolved. The time has come and it catches us off guard, just like it did back then. This is very important to keep in mind within the mentality of the Moroccans.
Francisco Vendal, it's a pleasure to talk with you. You're living history. Thank you very much, my friend. Next season, I look forward to 1,000 stories like this. Take care.
A hug to you all.
Castillon from Albert Castillon.
Dear confidants, this week something shameful has happened. And it's curious that the media reported it as just an anecdote, but it's not an anecdote at all. Look, until August 20th, we've been working just to pay taxes. That's 231 days a year. Every year, it's 2 or 3 more days, more and more. And from now until the end of the year, we only have 134 days to work for ourselves. Is this fair?
We're waiting for you at the home of Vichy Catalan sparkling water.
Dear confidants, Magda warned us while it was happening. Let's listen to her.
Hello, Albert. I just saw on television that now in Ceuta, they've put up some awnings and all those who were on the beach are being moved there. And all that beach that's been left in a mess, we Spaniards have to clean it up. All those people who have come and are sitting there. But we're fools. Honestly, we're fools. And let's see, isn't the king of Morocco one of the richest men? Well, let him support his own children. No, it's not such a wonderful religion. Well, let him practice it. Why should we raise other people's children? But let's see, we're really fools. Unbelievable.
I understand you so well, Magda. You're so logical in what you say. Look, the government says they've set up tents for 1,500 people.
And the ones who have gone are exactly 1,500. Look, tell me if you think there are 1,500.
Everyone, the police, the civil guard, even the NGOs say that there are at least 4,000.
Therefore, they will stop living on Trampoline Beach and will move to that area with the tents in the industrial zone. How the beach looks now. Right, take a look. From a sofa to a microwave.
Everything.
Cretans won't go to that beach for at least a year until it's thoroughly clean. Because the situation is nightmarish, no one has started collecting the plastics we told you about yesterday from the water yet.
Well, gentlemen, you're wondering where Sanchez is, right? He's at La Moreta, diving, sleeping. They've put up a new piece of graffiti not far from the entrance to La Moreta.
They've probably already erased it by now. They never stop.
He has a team just for erasing graffiti.
In this one, they're watching it, the 10 corruption cases surrounding his family. The truth is, there's not enough wall to explain all the corruption of this tyrant. Not enough wall. I have a lot of questions, and one of them seemed really curious to me. Fernanda, listen.
The coastal protection system we have in Spain, the coastal surveillance system, which is called CIP, because according to what I've been reading, there are quite a few resources to prevent this from happening the way it is. There are many things at their disposal, and they can even spot boats 20 miles off the coast. They can see them from the air. They can see them from land. They can even see them at night with infrared radars. In other words, there are resources. Another thing that has concerned me is that one of the companies dedicated to coastal security is Indra.
Fernanda, you are prophetic. It's not just one of the companies, it's the main one. Yes. Indra monitors the Spanish coast to prevent immigrants from entering. Come on, it does it just like it monitors electoral fraud, you know what I mean?
In total, almost 100 million euros each year for optical cameras, radars with smart infrared sensors, artificial intelligence to alert about suspicious ships, and the command center for quick response, which is also set up by Indra.
Look, Indra receives each year. Are you sitting down? Good.
Each year, from your taxes, it receives 2.1 billion euros for military and security technology.
Honestly, Indra, I'm not getting into the military side of things.
But they don't control our coasts well, either because it's an order and they obey it, or because they don't know any better.
Because they receive money, our money, hand over fist. Indra is always there, my friends. Indra is always involved in everything and almost always doing what the government tells them to do.
Of course, 2.1 billion reasons to obey whoever is in power.
There's more. The controversies about what's happening in Ceuta have sparked a discussion about what happens with unaccompanied minors. Listen to Esther and Francisco.
About the visit from the Maasai in Ceuta, my question is, why are we also taking in children who should be with their parents and in their own country? Because otherwise, this could be called child abduction. What a way to whitewash everything Pedro Sanchez is doing just to get votes for the next elections.
I mean, I hear that Morocco is asking for the Moroccan minors. They're asking for them to be returned. And it turns out that Spain, the Spanish state, doesn't want to do it. Isn't that called kidnapping? Because I think that's kidnapping. I don't know. I wonder what people think.
It's like now they want to send 500 girls to the mainland. Look, they all lie here. The Spanish government and the Moroccan government.
The one who said, "Give us our children, they've been kidnapped from us," is a Moroccan minister, one of those who provoked the invasion. I'm going to show you a video so you can see that even if we hand over the minors, they wouldn't take them in, or so they say.
The video shows how they try to hand over a body. One of the 150 people who died on Tarajal Beach. That's an image of the Ceuta lighthouse.
A funeral services vehicle. The handover had been arranged with Morocco. The body is Moja. Mohammed Sayed, 21 years old, a poor boy.
Well, they're heading over there. Papers. They're asking them for more papers, and they have to turn back with the body and return to Ceuta. They don't accept the dead, let alone the living. I mean, we have to put up with their criminals, the children they didn't want or who left home, and now also their corpses. This is Morocco, my friends. Don't believe a word they say.
On the other hand, Spain, with the whole thing about procedures and paperwork, the children will do or not do whatever Mohammed VI says, because he's the one in charge here.
And by the way, they say that no one is leaving the area, that they've already stopped the migrant boat taxis, that the civil guard has it under control. Look, Cartagena a few hours ago. This is a cove in a residential area in Murcia.
Look how they're all going to jump in.
Into the water. That one is just like this one, packed with people, right? In the middle of August.
Oh, they sell with the narco craze there. It really is crazy.
Each of them is paid on average between 3,000 and 5,000 euros.
Of course, and they're drug traffickers who bring 2 kids here and that's it.
It's crazy.
The person recording the video says it very well. The same people who traffic in hashish now traffic in people because it's more profitable. And look at those who have come. They're not badly dressed, not badly groomed, not making rude gestures. They're even waving at the camera. Come on.
Hello, hello.
They just needed to shout that thing about Pedro Sanchez. Pedro Sanchez. Well, about what's happening, folks. Silvia Minerva, Juan Fraguas, and Danny.
I have no words to describe how I feel, especially about what's happening. It makes me feel disgusted. It makes me feel angry. And I don't understand how we can have a government like this and just stay at home, sitting on the couch or protesting for Palestine. I don't understand how there can be people, a president and ministers with so little humanity and so much shamelessness to allow the outrage that they're experiencing.
These poor people living in Ceuta who haven't done anything.
Well, folks, I was wondering that with the way things are, at the very least, it's a national emergency. Spain is burning. It's being invaded. I mean, I think the opposition should stand their ground in Congress, demand explanations and solutions, and not move until they get a solution. Because we can't go on like this. This is horrible.
Spain, the socialism of the Ciosques, a mix between National Socialism and social communism. That's what we have, a real dictatorship, a disgrace, and a betrayal of the nation. They are real traitors without principles.
In this program, one audience member said that the invasion happening on the last day of July, when the president was already on vacation, was no coincidence, so that parliament couldn't meet. It's not a coincidence. It's a lack of democracy. In democracies, it's the parliament that calls the president when it's necessary. Because parliament represents the nation, and the president must set aside his schedule, vacations, and even family if the nation requires it. But we keep believing that this is a democracy.
Thank you. I don't think it's just blackmail. It's a bribe. He's directly paying him money to get him to agree to his plans. Later, the bribe might also be based on blackmail. That's possible. But he doesn't care what comes out. He knows that if a video of any kind of him or his wife doing something wrong gets leaked, it wouldn't cost him any votes. Besides, he controls them with Indra and with Correos and with the new naturalization drive.
See the...
Very interesting. Can you have points of view that I absolutely share? Look, meanwhile, Sanchez is at La Mareta while he goes diving and takes mysterious trips that we will talk about soon. He has broken a record for vacations, yes. The government has hired 200 more advisors, and for the first time, they exceed 1,000. In total, there are 1,006 advisors as of today for the government and for Sanchez.
How much does each advisor cost us? 80,000 a year on average. That is to say, gentlemen, every year, 80 million of your taxes go to these people.
Simply, the one Sanchez owes a favor to, the one who needs to be silenced, the one who has to be bought with your money, gets appointed as an advisor.
It's obvious that Sanchez doesn't even know 90 or more of the 1,006 advisors.
Welcome. There's more from the newsroom. Latest messages. Susana, tell us.
Here we are, watching in the newsroom.
From Castellón Confidencial, as always, receiving messages all summer and opinions from our insiders who, even though many are on vacation, don't stop watching us. And we really like that. Serafin says that in Spain, Mohammed has more power than Felipe VI. This is a disgrace, but it's the reality. Maria says that the Red Cross is becoming more red and less cross, to which Peppa replies that it's absolutely true. The Red Cross is now run, Alvarez's wife tells us. It doesn't matter if you contribute a lot or a little. They feed the government with public money, that is, with our money. Crepi says that our king is only authorized to give Christmas speeches. Such irony. Let's not complain so much. She tells us that it's not that bad either. A lot of irony from our friend. Ariscoa says that no country would have allowed this invasion and the government is still on vacation. We are a bit tired of this situation and we feel very alone. Maribel says that the government cannot break up Spain. They can't break it up, not at all. But what do they think, she tells us. Spain belongs to the Spanish people, and if they dare, we would have to start a popular uprising. I wish it would be like that. We also have our friend Lola, who wishes us a good day. She says, my older brother did his military service in Ceuta. He fell in love with the city. He has always spoken very highly of Ceuta and its citizens too, and how beautiful it is. In fact, he fell in love with a local girl. He always said that Ceuta is a gem that needs to be taken care of. Let's see if that's true. And also Alfonso Campuzano, and with this we finish, he says that seeing the borders open and undocumented immigrants brings infectious diseases and crime, according to newspaper archives. The supposed co-sovereignty with Morocco is nonsense without the support of the sovereignty of the Spanish people, which must clear the Cortes Generales and the subsequent national referendum. Except for the Spanish people, no elected politician has the authority or a free pass to carry out their whims. And we'll leave it here for now. It's very important that you follow us on all our channels to stay well informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. And I want you to see images I'm receiving from residents of Ceuta. Scabies and other skin diseases that we had never seen before. You are seeing them now. They are immigrants. These are photographs taken at the hospital entrance and on the street. Some of them are especially shocking because the flesh is exposed and nobody knows which of those diseases could end up. As of today, there are already 60 police officers who have caught scabies, and Marlaska has given them masks that expired in 2023. And let's not even talk about gloves. This is the first time we're seeing multiple skin diseases. There's ringworm, and there are other diseases that I'm told are spreading throughout Ceuta. Thank you, neighbors of Ceuta, for continuing to send photos and videos to this program, even during the holidays. Well, friends, history with Paco Alvarez in a minute.
The first woman to write a book about India was from Malaga, but she wasn't just anyone.
She is our heroine today. Get ready. Attention, Malaga. Maybe you haven't heard of her. Ana Maria Delgado Briones.
Paco Alvarez, welcome. How are you?
How are you? Delighted to be here with you and with all our confidence today to talk about a woman who had an incredible life. She had a truly movie-like life.
But did she write the first travel book about India?
Yes, not only that, but she also wrote it in French. I mean, we're talking about a girl from Malaga because her father owned a bar. I mean, she wasn't, let's say, from the upper class, nor had she received a great education. She was just a little bit literate, so to speak. But later on, throughout her life, she developed herself due to certain characteristics and circumstances that we'll see now, which indeed made her life a fairy tale. When she ended up writing, since she was bored, her husband told her, we'll see who her husband was. He said, why don't you write a book? And she wrote a travel book about her trip to India in French, which is the first guide to India ever written by a woman. But there's more. She also inspired jewelry at Cartier. I mean, well, I don't even know where to start telling you about her life.
Thank you. Let's see. Ana Maria Delgado Briones was, you tell me, a girl from Malaga, daughter of a bar owner, princess of India. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. Yes, exactly. I mean, let me say this. She married Maharaja Ajit Singh. We'll see how they met. And, well, she became the Maharani of Kapurthala. We're talking about before the First World War, more than 100 years ago. So, I mean, like that, life straight out of a movie. She was born in Malaga in 1890. And she had a sister, and her father had a small cafe in Malaga. But, well, things weren't going well for him. So they had to close it, and they came to Madrid to seek their fortune. And while her father was looking for work, her sister, Victoria, who was a little older, the sister of Anita Delgado, as they call her, Ana, well, she started posing for Julio Romero de Torres, became the lover of another painter of the time, Leandro Oros, and together they started working, singing, and dancing. At the Curso, which was a venue in Madrid at the time, they performed there as a duo. They were called Las Camelias, and they sang and danced and all that. And what's curious is that it's preserved because we found it somewhere on YouTube, our dear Anita Delgado singing in 1908. And I say, well, if you want to show the clip to our viewers.
Voice Anita Delgado, the Indian princess from Malaga. Indian, but it's incredible. She sang very well and had amazing lyrics for that time. But how? How did that relationship with India happen? You haven't told me. Well, look.
The Maharaja came to Madrid for the wedding, for the celebrations of Alfonso XIII's wedding. And then, well, they had to take him somewhere. They took him to the Cursal. He saw Anita sing, and he immediately fell in love with her. He started giving her gifts, her family, and she said, no, not at all. Nobody is looking for what he's looking for. And they completely refused until he made it very formal and asked Anita to marry him. So Anita also at first, well, she played hard to get, but in the end she said yes, obviously. And she went to France, where they trained and prepared her to be the princess of Kapurthala. And then she went to India, where she married the Maharaja on January 28, 1908 at a wedding. Well, just imagine a grand celebration. She was on top of an elephant. Well, it's impressive.
It's a movie, like they've made a series for us, a novel, I don't know.
Because something must have been written. I haven't found any big things like that, but there is something written. Apart from obviously her own travel book, there was also a time when they talked about making a movie, but the movie was based on a novel, not on her biography. In a novel, well, that was a bit risky. So the family of the Maharaja and her descendants, because she was the mother of a Maharaja of Kapurthala as well. I mean, what I want to say is the royal family of this region has blood from Malaga, and the family refused because they said, hey, that's not my grandmother, or that's not my father, right? And so that's where things were left, but it would be interesting if instead of novels, more serious studies were done, and this woman was properly given her due.
Hey, the wedding, I have to say, had a surprise, right? Yes.
Unfortunately, she found out at the wedding that she wasn't the Maharaja's wife, but the Maharaja's fifth wife.
He was married. Small detail.
A small detail. She was the favorite, but she was the fifth. So, well, of course, she had to focus on her own things. That's why she dedicated herself to writing, fortunately. And that's also why the marriage didn't last long. Indeed, she gave him a son who was also a lieutenant colonel in the British Imperial Army, and who in turn has descendants. In fact, she has an heir named Sarojit Singh. They were married according to the Sikh rite. She was given a Sikh name. I mean, Prem Kaur Sahiba, which was her name, Mrs. Prem Kaur, which was her Hindu name. And she lived there, inspiring jewelry for Cartier, the couple. For example, there's a peacock that has 1,742 diamonds. If you look up Cartier's peacock, It shows up there. Or an emerald, yes. Yes, look. Also a 177-carat emerald, which belonged to the royal house of Kapurthala, which the Maharaja gave to Cartier to have it set and made beautiful. And there are many timeless jewels that we often see in Cartier jewelry exhibitions. That is to say, all those that are inspired by India are inspired by this couple, especially by our Maharani. Anita Delgado, no?
But please, Cartier should exhibit these jewels in Malaga, right? That would be the right thing to do. That's where the design originated. You're telling me about many things that are unique. You also mentioned that he had a son. That son, does that lineage continue to this day? Have you been able to find out?
Yes, they have one. There is a great-great-grandson of Anita, whose name is Saturday. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but anyway, Satrujit Singh. He is Anita's great-great-grandson, and there is also a girl who I think is a great-great-granddaughter, niece or something like that, who lives in New York, and she herself designs jewelry. Anyway, in 1915, she published her book about India, which is called Impressions of My Travels Through the Indies. It's hard to find, but you can get it. And as I said, she wrote it in French because she was better educated in that language. She used to say, I write better in French than in Spanish. So, well, she wrote it in French. What's also very interesting is that this book, published in 1915, right in the middle of World War I, it couldn't be published in France, or it wasn't of interest. So the Maharaja made sure it was published in New York. And of course, if it was published in New York, it was published in English, so it was translated into English. So, I mean, we have the book by the woman from Malaga that she wrote in French, which was published in English in New York in 1915. In other words,
is she remembered in Malaga? Does she have any recognition?
She does have some recognition, but, well, to finish her story, she got divorced. After divorcing the Maharaja, she came back to live in Spain, although, well, she was between Biarritz, Madrid, well, luxury places, and so on and so on. She lived on Marqués de Urquijo Street, near Paseo de Rosales, in Madrid. The apartment is still there. It has a little plaque where she lived, and there's also a plaque on the house where she was born, which is at 17 Peña Street in Malaga. And there's also a memento of her, which she herself financed. Also, it's one of the mantles of the Virgin of Victory, the patron saint of Malaga. A wonderful one, made of silver on turquoise velvet. I think they call it the Indian mantle or something like that. She paid for it out of her own pocket because she was very devoted to the Virgin. And well, in the end, I mean, after she stopped being a princess of India, she continued living in luxury, but it was a peaceful life. And she went to heaven when she passed away in 1950. 50-something, I think. 50-something. I mean, she lived a long time. Happy and leaving Malaga blood in the royal house of Kapurthala and leaving behind the first book written by a woman. I think Anita Delgado deserves much more recognition, much more.
Please, come on, film directors, novelists, television series, television shows. We have some incredible Spanish heroes and heroines, and we're always writing about the same things. Let's see if we can move forward a little. Congratulations, Paco. These are stories full of feeling. And some descendant in India will surely get this message with photos you'll see.
You.
I follow you on your channel, Historias Confidenciales on YouTube. Hugs.
Hugs, Albert. See you later, friends.
And friends, sometimes what politicians say sounds like a joke. Freud Lannister has made a lot of jokes and gags using the words of the government spokesperson.
But is what Masain says accurate? Watch this embarrassing display.
18 days later, the government of Spain has been, is, and will always be by your side. At the Ministry of Inclusion, Social Security and Migration, we have been working from the very beginning to address this situation. This will mean the immediate provision of 1,500 new places. Blame the PP.
Some guidelines from PP headquarters that complicate collaboration between administrations. Hello?
Always the same, always heading in the same direction and always wrong. Well, Ceuta, the king, and Pedro Sanchez. Don't miss what Merke sent me.
Ceuta is overwhelmed with young sub-Saharan and Moroccan immigrants, illegal immigrants running to hide in the mountains, immigrants building makeshift huts with palm branches and trash. Ceuta is overwhelmed with young sub-Saharan and Moroccan immigrants.
They're calling you on the phone, yes?
Pedro, how's it going in Lanzarote? Everything's great here. And you? I'm in Mallorca. I heard there's trouble in Ceuta. Yes, but that's in Africa, right?
Well, we'll see if we ever go.
Well, unless my father goes. Unless my father goes, they're two of a kind, really, two of a kind. Well, I really like what you sent me, Mariah Jose, the photo it says.
That's how Ceuta was, the beach of Ceuta in 2025. That's how it is in 2026. We have to put an end to this. And I want Ceuta to be like it was in 2025 again. And for that, we all need to be together. And the last one from Angeline's.
Sanchez's latest performing magic at Sauna Cadabra, which is the name of the show, with one of the invaders with a Maghrebi. Watch.
Dear audience, look at this migrant, this being of light you have here. Well, behold my amazing powers because something incredible is about to happen. Thank you.
Just put a sheet over him. Check this out.
Progressive! Sauna Cadabra! It's still there. And then the miracle happened. Ta-da! It's gone.
Incredible. Marvelous. Bravo. He's the dam.
A fucking man. Yes, well, that's how the government is. Cheering him on no matter what he does, no matter what he says.
Because they know that outside of such a corrupt government, they'd be unemployed, if not in jail. Most of them, friends, have a great weekend. If something important happens, we'll show up, pop our heads in, and do a special.
And if not, on Monday in August, what day will it be already? 24, already August 24, but the month is already over and I haven't taken any days off. Well, I'll do it. I'll take a vacation later. Yesterday, there was a friend, right? She was telling me to take a vacation, Juan.
And I just wanted to tell you that your show, even though it's August, I listen to it every day. I can't miss it. Like so many loyal listeners you have who, even when they're on vacation, I'm not on vacation either, but you are. Please take a few days off. You need to rest. We all know this never stops and that the mafia never comes. A hug for the whole family.
Thank you, Maribel. I'll take your advice and take 2 days off starting Monday. I'll be waiting for you all here. A kiss to everyone.
Pero solo para mentes abiertas y para gente despierta. Desde la trinchera, las balas silban y no hay manera de salir allá afuera. Aquí la libertad tiene las alas de cera. Albert Castillo, Susana Gash, Tucci Castillo y demás. Muchas gracias. Con esto y un bizcocho. Hasta mañana a las 8.
Castellon Confidential by Albert Castellon.